Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Conversion Collective. I am your host, Bryan Butler, and I have some pretty cool, exciting guests today. I am here with Dominic and Jeremy. Dominic is the CEO and owner of 4Pens. They're a wonderful physical product marketing company that specializes in putting your brand on accessible units that you can hand out to people for fun. And then Jeremy is actually a very vivid, very lively pen promotional user who I know from my local group here in Vegas. And Jeremy's known for his usage of the pen as his primary promotional market. So we have a really fun conversation we have planned today. Look forward to having this conversation and having you guys learn about what you can do to advertise your business and get your name in front of people using some very common, well understood products. So Dom, Jeremy, thank you for joining us in the pod. Really appreciate your guys' time.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Awesome. So Dom, let's start with you. I want to get an idea. So talk to me about 4Pens. What is it 4Pens does? What is the niche you guys are kind of filling? And I would love to hear kind of how you got this engine going and understand kind of what the baseline is.
Yeah, sure. 4Pens is 4pens.com is a marketing e-commerce site to support small businesses that are looking to get promotional products or to spread their marketing messaging through physical products. Of course, pens is our leading and most widely used SKU of items that we offer, but we do have many other items, including keychains, mostly all hard goods. We're not in apparel just yet. And I say just yet, but we focus on the actual tangible, usable items that can be handed out for businesses that are looking to use it. It's a e-commerce site to support manufacturing. We're big about U.S. manufacturing.
That's wonderful. And then Jeremy, thank you for joining as well. Talk to us about kind of what it is you do, what is your business, and give us a little insight into who you are.
Sure. So my name's Jeremy. I own Express Home Services. So we're a privately owned plumbing, electrical, and HVAC service provider. So current markets that we serve are the Salt Lake City market and the Las Vegas, Nevada market. Pretty much us in a nutshell.
Now, your market's super competitive. Like as a marketing leader, one of the things that I look at a lot of times is kind of like what the competitive space looks like. CPCs are super expensive in your niche. I think last I looked, we talked about it. It was like $53 to $60 a click just for your niche. And I know lawyers are in the same kind of physical issue where their Google ads are usually $125 to $140 a click, depending on what the product is. Talk to us a little bit about how your marketing strategy using a physical product like a pen has helped you to kind of see, I guess, access to a market that has otherwise kind of shut you out from a competition standpoint, just because of how super aggressive it is.
Yeah. So, I have I buy pens in bulk and I leave one everywhere we go. If I'm going to the DMV, I don't just leave one, I leave an entire handful on every countertop. My goal is basically anywhere that pens disappear from is where I want to leave them. From the bank, from the DMV, from the post office, from restaurants. Every waitress, if you ever look in their apron, they have a whole slew of pens from different places. And it's because pens disappear, right? And so my whole goal is that if pens disappear and end up in potential clients' hands, I've just increased my odds that they're going to look at that pen, read the logo, look at my branding, my website's on the pen. But I think even more important is the quality of the pen, right? So if it is a pen that writes nicely and lasts a while, they fight for them. In fact, the bank that we bank at, we have a teller that we see regularly, and she hoards our pens because she's like, they write so nice and they write consistently. And I tell her, I said, I'll bring as many as you want. You give one to every customer. And she's like, no, I'm not. I'm going to hoard them. But we have, I've taken entire boxes of pens and dropped them off places where they disappear because I want to, they don't do any good sitting in my office. They don't do any good in my customer service department. They don't do any good in my accounting office. I want my logo and my website in front of people. Even if they're not really thinking about it, it's just that kind of subliminal approach. And I have a goal. My goal is to find one of my pens in the wild. And what I mean by that is to literally find it where I didn't leave it to see where it migrated to, right? So, and
Love that.
I've gone to the DMV 6 months later and seen DMV reps where a pen migrated from the counter to behind the counter, and seen them using them. And she had used this pen so much that the logo was starting to wear off, right? So she loved that pen. But here's the fun part too, is when you see someone with one of your pens, it's a great conversation starter too. Oh, you have one of your pens. Oh, tell me about it, right? And now it's an easy thing. So yeah, that's my whole pitch. So at our meetings, Bryan, you'll notice I routinely do that. At my chiropractor, they're the only pens. He doesn't even buy pens anymore. He
Why would you?
literally, if you show up, yeah, exactly. I'm giving them to you for free. I reduced his office expenses, and he's advertising for me. So it's just a beautiful thing.
So essentially, you have pens strewn out all over Utah and Nevada.
Yeah, yep. In fact, I went to lunch yesterday at one of my favorite places up here in Salt Lake, and they have our pens sitting in there on their counter every time. I bring them about 4 every single time. They're usually down to about 2 every time I come back. So they migrate out. It's just a warm, fuzzy, easy, and it's friendly, right? Nobody likes to have advertising jammed in their face. This is just friendly.
Yeah, we talk about the pen as the new business card, right? I mean, that's essentially what you're trying to do, right? No one's going to pick up your business card if they see it laying on the ground, laying on the table, wherever it is, or you see those boards where you can post your business card, maybe at a diner or somewhere, a restaurant or not. But everyone wants to use a pen, and to your point, we all like and have different feels and different writing styles that we like with pens. And so if they find one if you find one that is can reach more people, that's exciting that you're using it for that mechanism. So
yeah, absolutely.
I love the sort of the where's George, right? You've seen that website where they track dollar bills and how they move around. You're looking to track your pen usage and where it come back to you, right? A little boomerang come back to you.
Yeah, and we brand it our color, so it's just a simple javelina that writes nice, and with our logo on it, right? So it's easy marketing. Everywhere I go, I drop off a handful. In fact, it's kind of a sickness, I guess. I don't know, but I enjoy doing it.
Yeah. So your cost per click, or click, if we're using that term, with the pen, right? Cost per click there is
that's exactly right.
Less than probably 20 cents on that item, I would assume.
Yeah. I think I'm about 19 cents, but yeah, yep. Yeah, and it's just fun. In fact, I've had people come to me and ask me for pens because they like the way it writes. They last how long it lasts. In fact, I had a competitor's wife come to me and say, "I won't even carry my husband's business's pens. I carry your pens."
Sure, that goes over well at the dinner table for her.
Yeah, I'm sure right. It does, but I'm not there for that, so I don't have to worry about it.
That's great.
I love it. And Dom, do you see that kind of story pretty often? Is this something where you typically have a lot of business owners who are kind of telling this same kind of narrative?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the pen is a very functional, usable item, right? And when's the last time you actually threw one away, right? If it's working and it's writing, that pen's not going in the trash until it's not writing anymore, or something else happened to it, right? So the idea of giving these out as marketing items is they're going to last, right? Whether they're going to sit on that client's desk until he needs something or picks it up, right? I mean, I'm in the pen business, but I just picked up several that I have in front of me at all times, right? My desk is strewn with them in a drawer, or perhaps anywhere, right? That pen lives on. It's going to live on past that initial contact that you're making with your client, right? And then they're going to pick that up. And the idea there is just like marketing, right? There's a little bit of luck as far as reaching your client at the time of need, right? So the longer that the message can stick around, the more chance that you have to reach them at the time of need, right? And so for Jeremy, if they saw it and they can remember that they had a pen that was about HVAC, they'll go and find that, right? Perhaps they searched or they recall where they may have placed it, right? And then he's getting a phone call, right? And so for the 20 cents that he spent on that item, he's yielding a great return on investment for that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Exactly right. Well, and it's funny you mentioned a buddy of yours before we jumped on the call that he's leaving them at a bar. Same thing. Bars love pens. I mean, and most of these places are so excited to have them. They don't care where they're from. You've just reduced their expense. You're putting something like you said. People will take it home, right? That's the goal is for marketing. That's, I think, the hardest part about marketing is it has to be something they want to take home, right? And that they want to keep. Because reality is if I produce a postcard, if they don't have an immediate need, it's going in the trash, right? If I want something that is going to stay in that house and brand me the best that I can. And I think this is, I have found the most economic, feasible way for me to do it, right? And so I do it by the handful.
Yeah, Dominic, can you put like a QR code on a pen small enough to where it actually scans?
We can, yeah. There's actually pens that actually have larger clip. I don't have one in front of me, but they have larger clip areas where they're designed to basically have a QR code that you could scan and then of course take to a website or even a business card, right? We've picked up pen vendors that they do that. They'll do it on their clip and you're taken right to their contact information, right? So then it does really become the business card past the your name and number. My email is on my pen that I give out to everyone, as well as a promotional code to be used at 4pens.com. So if you find mine, you'll find a good discount out there in the world. The other thing would be they're actually coming out with where you scan it with your phone. I'm
Oh, the tap to
blanking on.
pay,
Yeah,
the
well,
NFC.
it's similar to tap to pay, but it now, instead of the QR code, it actually opens up a screen. You have to have the app, I believe now,
Yeah.
but that
Most
this
iPhones
just
have
as
the near field communication built in, so you tap it and it comes up, kind of like the Blink card. Like my business card is a metal Blink card that people just tap.
yes, yeah. So that technology is starting to come into pens. It's starting to come into other. I think it's already in greeting cards or other promotional type items, but we're excited. We're actually testing some right now, so perhaps in a couple months, look for those on our site, and
How cool!
you'll be a little bit more technologically advanced. Now, those aren't going to cost you're not going to be handing those out to everyone, but
19 cents,
specific
yeah.
clients that may be a little bit more better spend there for
Yeah,
you.
right.
So how important is the quality of the pen? When I first started, I started car sales back in 2004, right after high school. I was the youngest car salesman that I ever hired, right? And I remember one of the first lessons I got, and we've all probably had this, is sell me this pen. Do you guys remember that
Oh
from
yeah,
like
Jordan
early
Belfort.
days?
Yep.
Right? Sell me this pen. And it's like, how can you sell a pen? And the idea of the whole sell a pen sales methodology is that you want to elevate the pen to be like, is this pen what you want to be signing a $1 million contract with? Right? It isn't about the pen, it's about what you're going to do with it. Right? So if you're going after, lawyers, or if you're going after judges, right? Like how important is the quality of the pen versus the quantity that you can give out? Because obviously there is a subtle difference between paying $3 per pen that, is this beautiful, like almost has that like ink feel to it, like, the inkwells, versus having your, standard kind of pen that you have more for volume. Like, is there a difference in how you approach those? I'd be curious to understand like the quantity versus quality kind of perspective from both of you. I'll start with Dom.
Yeah, sure, definitely. And our customer service team does a great job to work with folks that call in that are sort of wrestling with this problem. They're wrestling with price point to quality, right? I mean, most of our pens, even at the lower market, as Jeremy's using there, they're still quality pens. They're going to stay together. They're going to last long. The biggest thing with those is really making sure that your imprint and your name and the information that you're putting on that pen is really clearly defined, right? So working with our team to make sure that you get a proof that you're properly approving and you're understanding what you're purchasing in that. On the other side of the end, where you may not be mass distributing these pens, you want to be more focused on on a particular clientele, or you're using it for yourself, or where then you're going to give it to someone that you're doing business with, right? So again, that contract signing, it's a leave behind. Hey, you may have closed business, but then they know who they closed business with, and they can come back again, right? That would be a higher end pen. We have executive style pens that can have the gold, the gold highlights, or silver highlights, whatever you need. It's a heavier metal pen, less than a plastic, sort of giveaway pen. So those are probably the core differences. Ink styles, for sure, you can get into that, and there is some blog posts on our site to look at, whether you like gel, whether you like ballpoint, fine point, medium point. There is a whole culture around pens, and you can get very, very nerdy and down into it if you want, but I'm going to keep a little higher level here today.
Do you find that certain industries tend to go with a different type of pen specifically? Like lawyers, for example, obviously might be a little more like, higher quality, whereas AC and, electrical, maybe it's a little more volume. Do you tend to have like categorical archetypes in that?
For sure, yeah, you hit it on the head with lawyers, accountants, also, so a higher little dollar pen, right? They're doing a transactional type of business that determines that need, right? With HVAC, you're interacting with a little bit more folks, and you're, so that price point may not be as much, but still the quality is always there, right? So price point does not denote quality, right? So when you're
Gotcha.
looking at pens, you really want to look at, and that's where we talk about USA made compared to a lot of imports, right? Promotional products is very much an import based business, but we decorate everything here in the United States, and so we are still promoting U.S. jobs and things. But yeah, so that those differences are really, when you're thinking about it, how you want to go about it. The gel pen, even though it's plastic, is going to be a little bit more expensive because it's that different feel and smoothness to the writing that you're looking for. So again, back to the different usages. The accountants and the lawyers are also looking for that heavy style ballpoint pen because it
Mm,
has to go through, and they need to scan it. So just appearance on the paper is super important to them. We have delivery drivers that use a warehouse pen. It has a tungsten ballpoint pen tip to it, so it actually presses through. Back in the day, not too many where you're using the carbon copy anymore, right? But
right.
back in that day, that was super important for those folks. Even the banks, right? My local bank, they can't even use their current pen because it doesn't show up on a scan, so they actually have to use a different style pen because they
Wow.
went out and bought it, and they didn't realize that when they scan their documents, it's actually disappearing, right? So those are some considerations that go past the quality and the actual feel of the pen, right? Is actually that writing.
Very subtle. Jeremy, how about you? How do you approach the quality versus quantity kind of equation?
I accidentally stumbled upon the Javelina many years ago, and the feedback I was getting feedback from customers and people that I would was routinely dropping off hands full to kind of disperse, um, and it really became a we love your pen, so can we have more, right? And it was like, okay, if there's a certain amount of desire for it because it writes nicely or because it lasts more than 2 minutes or whatever, it was like, okay, it's a pen that they don't really care if it gets stolen. I want it to get stolen, um, but it writes nice, so it's a pen they want to have. That was really kind of what, and I stumbled upon it accidentally. I had a really good promotional person years ago that brought me a whole thing of pens and said, okay, what do you think? And I narrowed it down to, okay, can I brand the pen? How does my logo look on the pen? Kind of like Dominic was saying. And then um, do customers want this pen? How does it write? Because it was interesting. The first Javelina that I wrote with from a different promotional company, it was trash. It wrote terrible. And it's interesting how many different Javelina style manufacturers there are now. Um, and so at first I was like, I'm not interested in that one. It didn't write well, and people are just going to throw it away. It's just going to end up in the trash can. And she was like, try this one. This is the original Javelina manufacturer. This is not the knockoff wannabe one. And it's been kind of amazing. the response has just been great. I mean, it's funny because it's a simple. We use a blue ink, simple blue ballpoint pen, works well for you know everybody, and so everybody kind of wins with it. We haven't gotten fancy. I mean, I like writing with the gel ink. That's what I like writing with. I like blue ink, but in pens that I'm willing to donate to the wild, the ballpoint, blue ballpoint, you can't go wrong. It's a timeless classic, right?
Right. When your colors are really vibrant too, like your pens stand out in the wild. That orange is really, really, you see it on the table, it doesn't blend in. And I think that's another thing too, like when you're deciding your promotional value is like, what is the color you're looking at? Because I can tell you, so a little bit of context. So Jeremy and I are in the same networking group. He's the president of our local Latip here. And I walk into the meeting every other Tuesday, and there's a, bright yellow orange, kind of neon looking pen, and it's at every single person's table. And it's funny because I see other pens in the room for or doing our order or whatever, and I always typically don't even see them there. It's kind of like I get blind to the fact that they're there. But that orange yellow definitely kind of like is more vibrant and it gets your attention. So one thing a lot of people don't think about, and I think you've done a good job, Jeremy, is really color of the pen and making sure that it stands out. Cause like a really like grayish, kind of like normal, I don't want to say normal, but like an invisible pen. Like you don't see it. Like that's the opposite of what you want in a promotional material.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. It's exactly why we did it. I mean, it was one of the things I like about the Javelina, and I'm sure you guys have they've got the tropical colors, and they've got the whites and the blacks, and then they've got the different highlight accents and the different tube colors and everything else. I mean, it's kind of a fun thing. In fact, I have had people disassemble my Javelina pen and find another Javelina pen and make some hybrid Javelina pen with colors that they don't even offer. So it's just it's kind of a funny thing, but yeah, people like our pens.
Yeah, we have 15 SKUs of listed SKUs, which it doesn't count colors. So those are 15 categories of the Javelina, or we call it the Dart as well. Since Javelina is a brand name of the pen by one manufacturer, so we have but yeah, it's all about the mixture. We have them categorized by color category, or tropical is of course one of them. So yeah, it's very interesting that pen, and it is one of the more popular because of price point, and then also its functionality of the pen.
Yeah, well, and how many pens do you really get to brand your color? You know what I mean? I know that there are different brands and they do different colors, but the Javelin or the Dart, they've done such a nice job with. I get to own that pen, right? Like when you see, and it's funny, I have seen not very many, but I have seen a couple of that Javelin and Dart style pen, and I've gone, oh, is this? Am I about to find mine in the wild? And it's somebody else's, and I'm like, oh man, so close, so close. But yeah, you get to own that color, you get to own that style, especially if you're handing them out like candy.
Yeah, for those listeners that don't understand the pen, they can go look it up. But it has an accent color as well as a base barrel color, and so similar pens, right? The clip or the tip are a different color than the barrel. So yeah, if you're searching to the conversation here, right, is matching your brand colors, and then secondly is again making sure that you're contrasting your imprint, right? So your imprint with those brand colors, right? We have some folks that unfortunately they make a poor choice. They either put a green on a yellow or something, two primary colors they're too closely matched, and so then their imprint sort of blends in with the color of the pen. It's not as noticeable.
Oh, yeah.
It's still there, but it's not going to make that impact that we're talking about, right? You don't know that it's a promotional pen. You just see that it's a pen, right? And that's the difference, right? When you're giving out a promotional item, is you want that pen to be attractive, but you also want your name to be attractive, right? So that the second they pick it up, they're seeing that, oh, this was provided by, so-and-so company or so-and-so person. And so, yeah, that's important. there are full color options, and there are, on the pen that we're talking about, the Dart or the Javelina, we do a full color option on that, where the imprint itself can have multiple colors in it. So I see Jeremy, your logo has a circular with 4 different distinct color sections. That could be easily done with a full color imprint. The sacrifice right now in the marketplace is that imprint size will be slightly not as tall, so you can't put as much information. It can still be very long, but it just can't be as tall because the way that the style is printed and that kind of thing. You can do a wrap, but you're talking again, your expense is starting to go up. But yeah, so check those out.
Absolutely, my favorite.
So Dom, contrary to the name, you guys don't just do pens. You guys have other physical promotional products as well. I know for myself, when I first started my company and then the Conversion Collective, we actually got a Yeti mug that we had imprinted with our logo on it. And every new client that I would sign on for our marketing consulting, we would send that out, and that would be kind of our promotional, like, thank you. And people love the fact that they get a really good quality mug that has a logo. Talk to us a little bit about kind of how you guys have approached that side of the industry, because obviously, pens is your primary product, but it's not the only product.
Yeah, 4Pens was our starting product. We were completely just pens up until about 2 years ago, and we started to expand into other promotions. And it's a 4 promotion is our tab on our website that goes into all the rest of the categories. So drinkware is a very strong category, a very popular category out there in the world. You have mugs, ceramic mugs to insulated to stainless steel mugs, all the way up to the tumblers, right? And so, yeah, Stanleys or Yetis, Owalas, these are great brands. They are they're designed in the United States. Most of them are not made if they're stainless steel here in the U.S., but can be imprinted and decorated here for you. And so that's what we really focus on, right? Is we focus on ability to choose a set of products that we have a strong manufacturing network. Some of the networks owned by us, others is not. That we can stand behind the quality of that product and what we're delivering, right? And so whether it's a tote bag or it's a keychain or a tumbler, you're really, for us, we vet that vendor relationship if it's not ourselves that are actually doing it. And we make sure that quality and that product and that turnaround is to an expectation. We are not Amazon, and with a specialty product. So there is some understanding from our clients that needs to be had with that. We are a small business and a U.S. manufacturing based business. So.
And Jeremy, do you guys do anything with the mugs or other physical media?
So I have in the past actually done a Yeti. It wasn't. It was a knockoff Yeti, and I'm trying to remember the brand. I'm sure you probably have it. I know, right? But it was the same concept as the pen, though, right? What can I put in the home that won't get thrown away and keeps my brand in front of someone, right? So, coffee mugs, unfortunately, kind of people still use them, but not the same way that they do the insulated tumblers, right? So if you can get the right insulated tumbler, it's the same concept as the pen, which is they're looking at that logo every single day. So yeah, with an HVAC installation, we used to bring a gift, which was a insulated tumbler that had our logo imprinted on it. And again, same as the pen, it was just branded our color. So it had the powder coated finish that was had our logo etched in, and yeah, so I have done that before. I don't do it currently. I feel like the mug wars have gone a little crazy with Hydro Jug and Stanley and everybody else. That
wars.
Yeah. So I haven't done it in a while, but I think it's a fantastic idea. Absolutely think it's great.
Yeah, one of our starter kits that we have on our site is to support small business startup. So it's called a small business startup kit. It is actually one tumbler and then 50 pens that can be purchased as a bundle. So it's really focused on that small business owner that may have just, started to put their shingle out there, wants to feel a little bit more, so now they're attending the meeting with their own self-branded mug that they're placing in front of that client, but then they have those pens to give away, right? So that kind of usage, it can really help, right? Where you're legitimizing yourself with a little bit higher end, tumbler per se, and then
Yep.
and then giving out the leave behind, which is the pen. So yeah, we have a lot of clients that do that. That to your point, Bryan, the gift kind of idea and the thank you for the purchase, or even prior to, right? If it's a really a high ticket item, and you have a Dream 100 list of clients that you want to go after, if you have the budget, send it out there. It's a package that's going to get in their hand, and it's going to get to that decision maker, and it's going to make an impact, and hopefully get you a call.
Yeah, we
And
actually have a
it's the law of reciprocation, right?
yeah.
It's if I give you something nice, right, you feel a sense of obligation to use me because I've given you I mean, gosh, some of these mugs and tumblers are getting pretty pricey, even in bulk. It's like, it's a serious investment. So yeah, if
Yeah.
you, like you said, Dominic, if you've got your top 100, absolutely. You want to reciprocate and have that logo. Cause guess what? You know what my family will not do is throw away anything that says Yeti or Arctic or Owala or those brands. They don't go in the trash. They sit and they get used and they get carried and they get taken on trips to the beach, whatever. Right? Is there? It's just fantastic. My business partner, she uses she has a Yeti tumbler from one of our manufacturers that she uses every single day for her coffee, religiously.
Yep. We have mugs my wife and I have brought back from Europe or from Thailand or wherever, and those mugs have been donated to Goodwill because we have so many Yetis that it's like I use the Yeti. It doesn't have my stuff cool down. So even though I paid to have this darn coffee mug brought back from Thailand, now it's like, well, I guess I don't really have room for it. And it's funny because you think, oh, that's a souvenir. We have thankfully traveled so much that we got a ton of souvenirs, and we realized that collecting coffee mugs got real bulky real quick.
Sure.
Like, oh
Yeah.
no. One of those fun things. Dom, what is happening with the industry right now? What that you can kind of take a moment and give us a narrative on? Like, where are you seeing the industry go? Is there anything new coming that you're excited about? Is there anything that is kind of like, I would say, maybe trend setting right now?
Yeah, I mean, so full color is it's new but old. But yeah, the more that we can, printing technology is getting quicker, faster, better, and so full color is really showing that, right? The ability to place a much more vibrant imprint on an item, and the variability of which that can be placed on those items. So from an imprint standpoint, that's probably the biggest thing. We're mostly in hard goods. There's a ton of advancements in apparel, right? When you're talking about the fabrics, that's not really in the promotional side, but more on just the fabric use. But from a hard goods standpoint, it is this embedded bump technology that's you're really going to start to see that it's already in stuffed animals. It's already, like I said, in postcards and paper products, but it'll start to get in more of your hard goods. And it's really a programmable chip that prior to us sending it out, we would encode it with your website, your contact information, whatever, wherever you want it to point to. And then, as you hand that out, as it becomes near to a phone or a device that's detecting it, it'll automatically bring that up. So those are probably your top two. As far as the industry as a whole, there's a lot of consolidation, right? Just like in the HVAC market, private equity is really getting in, and the small businesses are getting rolled up into much larger organizations. Ourselves, we've done some expansion to just to strengthen our position within the marketplace through acquisition. And so, it is a way to expand, but it does take away from some of the creativity of the marketplace. So the creativity is still coming from those mom and pops or those smaller producers. the last thing I'll say is that promotional products has a risk of those smaller mom and pop producers, right? The maker um, um, industry, or the maker group marketplace, Etsy kind of expanded, right? I think Etsy's been a little bit more watered down. There are companies now on Etsy, but in
Right.
any
Yeah. It's not
any
just
any
independent.
sense, that marketplace uh, is competitive to us, right? I mean, they're willing to do some things that we may not, right? If it's not, as cookie cutter, we may not be as cookie cutter as the larger industries, but there's still this spectrum of who's willing to do what for you from a promotional standpoint.
Makes
Well,
sense.
and I think on that note, Dominic, I think it's, even if I'm a little guy, I'm gonna act like a big guy, right? And the image and the way that I portray it, and the way that I walk around confidently, the big guys aren't doing these little things, right? They're not. There's something to be said when I walk into a room and set my own coffee cup with a, you know, gosh, $50 cup, and it's got my logo on it, and then hand out pens. There's something to be said for that in the way that that looks, right? The level of confidence. Because I when you just told me that about that package, that starter package you've got for businesses, I'm like, man, that's genius. Every small business, every brand new LLC, every new company that starts up should do that without fail. They should do that, because there's nothing that says, nope, I'm here to stay. Like, here's my cup and here's my pens, and it might seem really stupid to a lot of people, but when you walk in and you've got the right gear and you look the part, you know, we're a small company, and I can't tell you the number of people who, based on just the little things that we do, think, oh man, you must be just as big as these guys. And it's like, nope, they have about 7 times more trucks than we do, but we are going to look like we belong in this same stadium, right? So anyway, I think that's a really great point.
I love that for you. Love that.
Awesome. Yeah, I was thinking about Aquabrite and our window guys. Like, they're young startup. These guys are 20 years old and they have their own businesses. They just like started up together, and they're super ambitious. And it's like, man, these guys are, at the right point in time to be able to take these risks, right? They're like 20 years old. And so like what your small business package is perfect for that, right? That's
Yeah.
really, really beneficial.
Yep. Agreed.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and going back to the pens itself, one of the things that I want to say is too is it ignites a sense, right? So the pen itself can almost be five senses all in one. So, and when I'm talking about is touch, right? So that feel that you have to the pen, we have soft touch finishes, so different styles of finished metal close to plastic, or the way it looks, and then the look, right? We already talked about that here on the podcast today, right? That vibrant color, your imprint, those types of things, and then even that clicking, right? There's a difference to every pen and how it clicks, and some people really enjoy that, right? They sit there and they click that every day. And then we do have pens that smell. They have a scent to them, so there's strawberry as well as others. So we can look at those. And then the last thing is, if you have some fidget and you're hopefully you don't eat the pen, but there's
Some
some
do.
tactile for your last fifth sense. Maybe stretching it on that last one, but still, that is really the to your point, right? You're here to stay, right? That idea that the business owner has made an investment into something that's tangible, that represents them, and really puts that behind them. And so we're proud to be a small part of that in producing that for them and giving them that pride, right? So that's the biggest thing we talk about, is that we're only as strong as the logos that we print. And when those folks get that pen and they see their logo, right, that embodies some confidence and some hopefully in drives them forward.
Awesome. I love it. So this is great. Thank you for your guys' time. We're running at about 40 minutes. So I want to be mindful of everyone's time. This has been really fun. So as we wrap up, Dom and Jeremy, thank you, first of all. Dom, anything specifically that you want to leave with our listeners as kind of like a last bit of recommendation or advice for how they get into this promotional category?
Sure. Just think about it. Reach out to a reputable company. We're more than happy to help you to make those decisions. So you can do your research online yourself, but our customer service reps, and we know the industry, we know what you're looking for. So to sort of have a conversation, right? Work through and make your choices with some people that are experts in the field, and that would be my customer service reps such as myself. And we hope that you, as a business owner, can ink your impact in your industry and ink your impact within the world.
Very nice. And Jeremy, any last minute thoughts for you, or last thoughts in general for people who are considering this?
I as I love the starter package, right? And so it's, even if you're like, hey, you know what, I'm not going to be able to buy, a mass quantity of pens to hand out, start small, right? And if you've got everybody writing with your pen for a little bit and you become that guy, right? It just, you get a sense of, um, you're almost famous to a degree, right? Oh, it's the pen guy, right? And the guy who brings those pens and oh yeah, no, and it's funny because I've been called the pen guy that does air conditioning, right? Or the pen guy that does plumbing, right? So it's like, no, he brings in pens and they own this company. That's a great thing, right? To be remembered for. So it's you're promoting your business in a manner that the big guys can't really compete with, right? So anyway, I obviously I'm a staunch supporter of it. So no, I think it's great.
I appreciate it. And of course, I couldn't have a conversation with Four Pens and not bring you on as a special guest, because
Yeah, it's exactly right.
You are literally known in our entire community as the pen guy. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
This is just a slam dunk.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
Love it. Well, thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate your guys' time. And for everyone out there listening, this has been the Conversion Collective. I hope you have something from this podcast you can take away, some sort of business advice that you can take away from this. And go to fourpens.com and buy yourself some pens. Get that starter pack, because it's going to help you. It's going to get your business going. And if you're a small business who doesn't have a lot of money to spend, it's going to be a really great intro product for you. So, gentlemen, thank you much for your time. We appreciate you. And again, I am Bryan Butler. This is the Conversion Collective, and we appreciate you watching. Cheers.
Thank you.